Let's now tell you about Vovchansk, a small industrial town in Ukraine that has been virtually erased, wiped off the face of the earth as a result of the over 2-year-long war. The mayor of the small town says Vovchansk barely exists anymore. The Ukrainian town's geography could not be more tragic. It lies just 5 kilometers from the Russian border, and if you were to send a camera there, for example, you would see miles after miles of ruin, rubble, devastation. The town was once home to nearly 20,000 people. Due to its location, it was always vulnerable. Now the town is a pile of rubble. In fact, its mayor says that 90% of the center is flattened. Vovchansk lies close to the regional capital of Kharkiv, which is an hour-and-a-half's drive away. Here, massive shelling has been reported. 6 out of 10 of Vovchansk's buildings have been totally destroyed. 18% of them are partially ruined. But reports say that the destruction is much worse in the city center, which has been leveled north of the Vovcha River. Those who have been to Vovchansk recently say that the pace of destruction in this town can dwarf that of even Bakhmut, the Donbas region city that has seen some of the most brutal killing of the war, earning the moniker of Bakhmut meat grinder. After months of intense bloodshed, Bakhmut fell into Russian hands last year. Now Ukrainian forces say that what took 2 or 3 months in Bakhmut happened in just 2 or 3 weeks in Vovchansk.
When you walk through the streets, you're reminded of Bakhmut and Avdiivka. The enemy continues massive bombardments. Today the city is almost destroyed. 90% of the city is completely destroyed. You could say that the city barely exists anymore.
And today, Vovchansk lives only in the memories of the survivors who managed to flee. Vovchansk was quickly occupied by the Russian army after it invaded Ukraine in February 2022, but was then retaken by Ukraine in a counterattack that autumn. Despite enduring regular Russian bombardment, it was relatively calm. And then things changed on the 10th of May. Exhausted after weeks of hard fighting, 100 kilometers to the south, the Ukrainian 57th Brigade was regrouping near Vovchansk when one of its reconnaissance units noticed something strange. They spotted 2 Russian armored troop carriers that had just crossed the border. They were the advance guard of one of the most intense Russian offensives since the beginning of the war, and Moscow, they say, threw several thousand soldiers at the town. Vovchansk had no fortifications, no mines to slow down Russian advance. The Ukrainian forces are blaming it on the sheer negligence and corruption that allowed this to happen. The Ukrainian troops expressed their frustration with the poor defenses of the town when the Russian forces started bombing. The residents of the city were right on the front line. Drones hovered over the town. Those who fled the city recall how they had to seek shelter underground for several days, and how they had to walk on foot for several kilometers before being rescued by Ukrainian volunteers. More than half of the families in eastern Ukraine have relatives in Russia. In Vovchansk, before the war in the Donbas region began in 2014, people crossed the border daily to shop, and Russians also flocked to the city's markets. Now, everything has changed. The Russian Defense Ministry is yet to give its account of what happened in the city. Today, a handful of civilians still remain in Vovchansk. No matter how the war ends, those who left the town wonder whether Vovchansk will ever be rebuilt. To stay up to speed with the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.